We come out here, we walk down, we have the Walden reading, which is either Thoreau or Emerson.
Society never advances, it recedes as fast on one side as it gains on the other. It undergoes continual changes. It is barbarous, it is civilized, it is Christianized.
There's different ideas being thrown around, that's for sure. You know, suddenly I'm dealing with Freudian psychology and behaviorism and things I'd never heard of before.
Rather than feeling that school is something that's helping them fulfill their dreams and aspirations, it almost feels antithetical to who they are.
Traditional school, I was, self-proclaimed, but relatively successful. I did well in classes. I got the material. I like advanced math and everything, but I learned how to get by without doing anything. It was just kind of boring to me. Not much of a challenge.
A lot of the stuff that you have to learn is like factual, and it's just like all memorizing facts. But out here, like, I don't know, it feels like it's deeper thinking.
If you're studying about wetlands and you're in rows in a building, there's only so rich that experience can be.
I wasn't doing very well in the school building. I wasn't finding inspiration to actually do my work.
I wanted a different approach to how I was learning, and Walden fit that pretty much perfectly.
Teachers don't like it when students have a certain way of putting their own thoughts into the class, and they kind of just expect students to sit still and absorb information, and that never really jived with me. Teachers in the public school aren't taught how to deal with problem children. The main consensus is send them away, send to someone who is qualified, as opposed to using your role to find out what the problem is.
We're participants in the adventure of learning with them, as opposed to just simply, we are the dispensers of knowledge. Here you must learn this, here you must learn that. Repeat back to me, very good, you have learned everything you need to know. We now pronounce you educated. It's a much more organic process. Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we're here at the Willowwell property, which is this 230-acre preserve with 11 different ecosystems on it.
People are always confused when I tell them I go to school outside.
I remember my feet were just soaking, and I wasn't ready for it at all.
And it was probably 15 degrees with a bit of wind, so I was shaking a bit.
I had a thin jacket, and I was just shivering the whole time.
For me, it helps facilitate the change. If you were in just another building, but you were told to do your own thing, it would just be complete goof-off time. But now, hey, it's real. We're out here doing it.
I would say that was probably an accurate reflection of that, with the perspective in the 1830s, well up into probably the 1950s even.
I guess I haven't really come up with a great answer as to why. Why my thought process has changed so tremendously in the past year and a half, 2 years, but it certainly has. I never gave thought to the news before or what's going on, and if I did, it was like, hey, my opinion's severely biased by those around me, like my parents' thoughts on this. Oh, that's my thoughts on it. Well, now I can think for myself on it, and now I understand what I have my own sense of right and wrong, and my own sense of what should be and shouldn't be.
I mean, be DIY, but kind of, be observant to the world around you.
There are even teachers who don't think that Walden is a real school and that you just sit around a fire all day.
I think people have a really narrow vision of what school is, and even if school didn't work for them, they chafe at the notion that you say school should somehow look differently. There are a lot of programs that are redefining schools, and I feel like there's certainly more acceptance that we face now 13 years in than we did year one.
When you're told, here are the requirements, there are no expectations, you have to fill these basic requirements, but you can do anything you want. It's not due until the end of the year. I mean, it's definitely a challenge to be able to organize yourself. That definitely prepared me for college.
Their research papers, their analytic responses, their reflective pieces. There's a syllabus with very prescriptive readings that we ask the students to do. But we also celebrate the student that says, oh my God, I want to write a novel. One student who was really interested in Native American culture, he built a dugout canoe using really simple, old school technologies.
They want you to do work not because like this is a requirement, but because they want you to enjoy it. They want you to do it for them. They want you to do it for you. They want you to get something out of it.
I don't go home and be like, oh, now I have to do homework. But I actually get excited about like writing a paper on whatever I want.
With what we call sacred story, and we start with the oldest person in the group and we work our way down to the youngest, and basically everyone shares their life story.
Life story, for me it's a nightmare. Aside from having the worst memory of anyone ever, I can have trouble being concise with my words.
For me to like present them, it was kind of hard because I'm not really a public speaker of sorts, but hearing other people's stories is actually really cool.
They're forced to get a sense of who that person that they didn't like at the beginning of the year, who they are. And it doesn't mean they're best friends at the end of the year, but there's at least a language of respect.
Whatever you say, they'll support you, they'll laugh with you, they'll laugh at you if it's funny.
I think everyone having to share where they came from, it definitely puts everyone on the same level.
You know, I'm one of the core teachers with Becky, but we're also always bringing in lots of people, and we're asking the students to engage, with community in its broadest sense.
There's lots of different blurbs about fair trade, but that's pretty much the simplest way I can break it down. And investing back in the community it totally depends on what the community needs. So some of the artisan goods.
What you all need to do is, on a piece of paper, you need to write a concrete noun and an emotion. Okay, so for example, it could be love and hippopotamus.
We always come up and write in coffee shops like this.
The Fridays here we have apprenticeships.
Having the opportunity to have an apprenticeship is a big deal because then you can actually pick where you want to go.
Some students won't come here if they have an apprenticeship where it would really benefit from, like working in a garage or working in a political campaign. And ideally, we've connected them with some older mentor in the community that gives them some depth of experience.
It definitely helps you to figure out what you want to do when you're older.
This Friday, I'm going down to like New York City, New Jersey area to see if I can go help out with the Sandy relief. Get on there for a few days. And I just told Becky, hey, I'm gonna go down to New York for a few days, and they're like, cool, you get a great idea and it's clearly something beneficial to you, to people. Hey, they'll support you all the way.
I met this person who just the conversation I had with them was really, really good, and I came out of it just being like, this is a person I need to write a poem about. A timeless top hat holds a history of long nights and mindless, meager encounters.
Large numbers of our kids are the first in their families to go off to college. Our college acceptance rate last year was somewhere in the 80-90% range, which is significantly higher than the high school at large. Yes, Walden is definitely effective. Yes, it is working.
Yeah, I like this. I like this a lot. Yeah.
Walden just really provided an opportunity for me to be able to speak my mind and learn in a way that was meaningful to me and direct my own education, and as opposed to being sat down in a chair and had information spewed at me.
I was really just closed inside myself and didn't want to talk to people, and I just was used to sitting at the desk and that being my space.
At the high school, I wouldn't really, they'd ask questions and I wouldn't be one to speak up and put forth my ideas, but here it's easier.
People always wear masks and put up walls and don't show their real self, and I've done that my whole life until Walden, until I felt the sense of community and knew people could trust me, and was thrown into a place where I could actually trust other people.
It really took the control away from people telling me what I should do, go to college, get an education, become this, become that. And it really puts control in the hands of the students.
Many of the students, come from a really sort of apathetic, turned-off place, and but not all of them, but by and large, the majority at the end of the year will be like, all right, I get it, I'm in. That the posture of alienation is shifted for a posture of All right, education matters.
Walden is an experience. It's not like there's necessarily one corollary thing that you can define, and it's not broken up into parts. It's the whole experience of learning and having community directly beside you that's also learning and actually wants to be there. Because in normal school, in public education, kids don't want to be there. They're forced to be there. We chose to be here, and it's more intentional and it feels honest as opposed to forced.